According to the National Arthritis Foundation, 1/6 of the U.S. population, or 54.4 million Americans, are currently doctor-diagnosed to suffer from some form of arthritis. Current techniques like MACI utilize chondrocyte-seeded collagen matrices for wound implantation during surgery. And although it's very effective in the short term, it's yet to be proven to be efficacious in the long term. And unfortunately, it is shown that articular cartilage damage nearly doubles when secondary reconstructive revisitory surgery is needed for cartilage repair. With chondropins, we hope to eliminate that need for secondary reconstructive surgery.
So here's the chondropins approach. We have this cartilage, we remove the damaged cartilage, we clean up the area a bit, and we perform a technique called microfraction, which will give us a source of nutrients and mesenchymal stem cells. From there, we're going to place a scaffold of gelatin, which will contain a RGD peptide, which will support in cell adhesion, and a conjugate of RAD and PFS peptides, which will recruit the mesenchymal stem cells. From there, we're going to place a scaffold of our chondrocyte-seeded tissue matrix engineered matrix, which will be composed of hyaluronic acid, collagen 2, collagen 9, and a chondroitin sulfate. And from there, the gelatin will degrade after a couple of weeks. The mesenchymal stem cells will be induced into chondrocytes, and our tissue matrix will be remodeled by these cells to form cartilage.
So moving on to our benefits and costs, one of the most prominent benefits in our design is no multiple procedures, meaning no repeated applications and no biopsy. In one of our reiterations in our design, we chose to use peptides over growth factors, as that drastically reduces the cost. In terms of biocompatibility, we use natural polymers which are bioinherent in the body, meaning better compatibility and effectiveness in the long run. As for the chondrocyte phenotype, there's no need for maintenance. Moving on to the costs, we have to consider the timing and resources needed through allergenic sourcing and the costs with scaling that go along with it. One of the concerns that we run through with our approach is differentiation, as we run the risk of unwanted differentiated cells. Finally, in terms of procedure times, we want to consider the duration of the procedure as well as the cost to go along with it, as shorter procedures will lead to lower financial burdens for both the patient and provider.
So with any novel product, chondropins will also have its share of competitors and alternatives. So one alternative is using oral supplements, but the efficacious effect of that is suspect at best. So our competitors are definitely the existing MACIs and also the holograft, which is essentially the autologous source, the chondrocytes, onto a hyaluronic matrix. And also there has been some other products that are within phase 3 clinical trials. For example, we have Novocart, which is essentially very similar to MACIs, but they include chondroitin sulfate, and you have CardiPatch, which is essentially autologous source the chondrocytes onto an allogeneic hydrogel. But there's also some scaffold-free options, such as Chondrosphere, which is basically chondrocytes within a sphere, and Revaflex, which is essentially allogeneically sourced chondrocytes onto a graft. Now, what makes our product very unique is that we will use allogeneically sourced chondrocytes from juvenile neocartilage, and also to have one up over Revaflex, we are going to also transfect the chondrocytes with chondromodulin 1, which essentially will maintain the phenotype of the chondrocytes. And second, we also will have a tissue engineered construct, which also helps provide the mechanical properties, which is not something that we provide by the scaffold-free approach. And last but not least, we will also have peptides, which will actively recruit these stem cells, and that would ensure that the regenerative potential of our product is as high as it can be, and ultimately would induce long-term regeneration by maintaining the phenotype and also reducing the potential fibrotic disposition.